Happy campers! We are getting so good at adding and subtracting fractions. Now we are solving with mixed numbers and unlike denominators, and this coincides with Math Expressions Unit 1, Lessons 9 and 10. So, it's going to be very similar to adding and subtracting fractions. We're going to use a T-chart to keep our work organized. This first example I show you just to remind you that if you're adding a mixed number with a whole number that has no fraction with it, it's the simplest kind. It's just 2/3 because there's no fraction to add with it. So it's like 2/3 plus 0. It's 2/3. Okay, but now that looks like 40. And then 3 plus 4 is 7, so our answer would be 7 and 2/3. Even though I didn't use this part of the, of the T-chart, I still want to practice using the T-chart to keep my work organized. All right, so what if we do have a fraction with that 4? We have 3 2/3 and 4 3/4. So we have denominators that are not the same. Just like when we were adding fractions, we need to find a common denominator. In this case, it's going to be 12. So my multiplier here is a 3. So that gives me 9/12 for the fraction on the bottom. And up here, I'm going to use a multiplier of 4. So that's going to get 8/12. And because we're adding, it doesn't matter that 8 is smaller than 9 and on top. And 8 plus 9 is 17. So we have 17/12. I'm going to pause right there because look, it's a fraction greater than 1. So I have to think for a minute. Okay, how many times does 12 go into 7? It goes in once. There's 5 left over. Now I have this whole number that I can come and put, I can carry it over here with my other whole numbers. So now I have 1 plus 3 plus 4. So that's going to be a total of 8. And then I have to remember about this fraction over here. I have 8 and 5/12 as my final answer. Again, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of math that went into solving just that one problem. Here I've got multiplication tables. If you don't know your multiplication facts, you need to be practicing. And then I have this conversion that's happening right here before I get to my final answer. So we're moving into math that requires a lot of paper. Use it. All right, now when we're subtracting fractions, let's say we have 5½ minus 3 1/3. Now this is just a nice, easy problem. I need to find a common denominator. I'm going to use 6 because I know I can multiply 2 to equal 6 pretty easily. And I know I can multiply 3 to also equal 6 easily. Now I have to subtract. Remember to put your sign out here so that you can remind yourself what you're doing. So 3 minus 2 is 1/6, and then I come back to my whole numbers. 5 minus 3 is 2. So my whole answer is 2 1/6. That's the easiest kind. But what if I have, let's go back to that whole number when you're subtracting with a whole number and a mixed number. What are you going to do here? So remember that having nothing right here is like having a 0, okay? So pretend for a minute, let's just look at a whole number example, 40 minus 22. Remember that we would borrow a 10 stick, but we're not dealing in whole numbers. A lot of people just want to bring over a whole number. We're going to borrow from the 4 and make it a 3. We do not bring a 10 stick over right here. That does not work because we're not using whole numbers, we're using fractions. What we bring over is 3/3. Okay, so now I have 3/3. I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room over here. Minus 2/3. That's going to be 1/3. And then I come back over. This is a 3 minus 2. So I get 1 1/3. Remember that borrowing. Okay, one more quick example with borrowing. All right, if we do have a regular mixed number, with fractions that are, or denominators that are not the same, first we have to find a common denominator. A lot of people are going to jump to 24 because 6 times 4 is 24, but that's going to require a lot of simplifying in the end. You want to use the smallest number that the denominators have in common. So if I do 4 times 3, that'll get me 12. And if I do 6 times 2, that will also get me 12. So in this case, I didn't just do 6 times 4. I didn't just multiply the denominators together. You want to find that greatest common, the least common multiple. There we go. Now I can look at the subtraction. I cannot do 9 minus 10, so I'm going to have to come over to the 6 to borrow or regroup. So in this case, I'm not bringing over 4/4 because remember I've changed into 12ths. So now the unit that I'm borrowing is 12/12, or I'm regrouping. So I'm going to add the 12/12 to the 9 that I already have. And I like to just cross that out and write their sum right there. So now I have 21 minus 10 gives me a difference of 11/12. And then I come back over to the whole numbers. 5 minus 2 is 3. So I end up with 3 and 11/12. This is kind of a different kind of, or a more challenging concept. So if you're still having problems or if you have questions, please come and talk to me. I will help you get through it, and we'll do some examples together until you can understand it on your own. And have a great day.